Greetings, everyone. This is Dayhawk, your favorite Daedric Prince, bringing to you episode 8 of Shaman King 2021 and 17 and 18 of Shaman King 2021. So the episode begins with Manta waking up, seeing both his mom and his sister, and then later on his father shows up. And basically, what happens in this scene, his father does not approve of Yo, and he knows about his ties with the Asakura family and him being a shaman. And overall, like I said, he's a bad influence on Manta. So he decides to have him transferred to America and study there. And of course, Manta doesn't want to move to America. And then you get to see him getting a drink, and then he stumbles on Yo's hospital room where he meets Yo, Anna, and Aminamaru with serious faces. So it wasn't a warm reception. And right before Manta wanted to talk about him and his family forcing him to move to America, Yo ends up blaming Manta for what happened with Faust and with him losing the match, and pretty much doesn't want to be his friend anymore. And Manta's crushed and tells him, like, I wanted to tell you that my family is forcing me to move to America because you are a bad influence, and you're a bad friend, and you're heartless. And he runs away. And later on, we get to discover that he doesn't mean what he says, and the reason why he did it is because he figured it's safer for him to stay away from him and not let a similar incident happen again, because with what happened with Faust is very traumatic, and he doesn't want to lose his best friend. So he thought that it was better to believe that it's all Manta's fault and just not be friends anymore. He thought it in his head was he was doing the right thing, but obviously not. So we get to the scene where Manta's mom, his sister, and Manta himself are at the airport waiting for the plane to be boarded and for him to go to America. And Manta had a discussion with his mom, and just calling her out on she only cares about what people think. I never had a friend because you're constantly hounding me on I should be studying and not have any friends, and reminding him that he's an heir to his father's company and he has to take over. Like, he has no time for himself, and he ends up running away. And in the midst of running away, he meets with Ryu, and how he is going to America to study how to become a sushi chef. And here's the part where I have an issue with this version of Ryu, is that he doesn't want to be a shaman. Okay, he doesn't want to be a shaman. In the original, you see the urgency, the want, and the need to become a shaman after what happened to him when he after he got his ass whipped by Yo, and being around Anna and Manta and all that, that he wants to become a shaman, have his own guardian ghost, and do the same things as Yo does. And here, being a shaman is not really in his mind right now. He wants to become a chef, so that once he returns from America, he wants to work for Anna and become her chef. Which, I mean, I don't like Ryu's character in this version. I really don't. I do not. Um, it's just a mini rant, but I don't know if you guys feel the same way as I do. And if any of you guys have read the manga, is it true that he wants to be a chef rather than being a shaman? I just want to know from you guys, because honestly, since the beginning of this reboot, I'm starting to get irritated with Ryu right now. Really irritated. Um, Aside from that, Ryu decides to take Manta and go on a road trip to visit Yo at his hometown. And sadly, this funny ending where he forgot his wallet in his briefcase, but there's no way in hell he's gonna go back and get it. Yeah, that's a funny scene. Taking a look at my notes. So in the meantime, Yo is talking to his grandpa. They're on a boat on a river, heading to this cave where the ancients bury their dead, and also shamans go in and have their training there, and warns them that you have to go through this cave for 7 days and nights for a whole week, and pretty much your five senses get stripped away. And once that happens, you end up going into the spirit world. And and in pretty much at that time, until then, his grandpa was like, "Are you sure you want to go through with this after everything I just said?" Yo just says, "Bring it on," and just, I have to do it, and he just goes in. Um, and then Ryu and Monta have this heart to heart talk while they're eating their lunch or their food, and how Mata like still wants to be Yo's friend after everything they've been through. His words, like, he doesn't mean what he says about him being a terrible friend and all that. And Ryu was talking about his special place, being that Manta's special place is being on Yo's side and continue being his friend. And you know, and Mata realized that, yeah, that's true. Regardless, he admits that he's more curious about Yo than ever before, and something about him just draws him in. He mentions, um, and then later on, he's again. I'm starting to not like Yo at this version, but now he says, like, I'm curious of me wanting to be a shaman. And but the way he says it doesn't, it's not like his old self in 2001, where he's like, I want to learn, please, I want to learn, I beg of you. But he's like, oh, casual, like, I'm curious now of becoming a shaman. And Manta mentions, like, didn't you want to be a chef? And he's like, yeah, I still want to be a chef, but I could do one thing, I could do both. It's just, I could do it all if I wanted to. um And let's see, looking at my notes here. Um, we get introduced to Tamao, the apprentice, and she has a vision about a large person and a small person approaching the Asakura compound. They bring danger to Yo and all that stuff, and hit and into the next scene. Manta and Ryu made it to the temple, I think it was, or well, they made it to his hometown, but I don't remember exactly if they made it in front of the temple or anything, or somewhere about those lines. And then they encountered Tamao, and while they're being attacked, she mentions how she was an apprentice. I fell in love with Yo, and Manta mentions like, don't you know that Anna already has Yo, and she says it's quite alright. I'd rather be in love with him by far than anything else. Like she knows, but she knows. And then as she was about to give the killing blow to Manta, and and you were wondering where was you at that point? Well, he was knocked out by her guardian spirit. So got knocked out, given the low blow, he was out. He was out. Um Anna shows up right on time, and then once that happens, she and Tamao they go wait for Yo at the exit, and and Yo comes out. And mind you, everybody who waited for Yo was shocked because, you know, after his grandpa tells this speech how dangerous this cave is and how it will change you completely right after you come out of there, and he just comes out all like same old Yo, like, yo, what's up, have I missed anything, what's going on? And everybody was like shocked, like it's like he's unfazed, like what happened to the cave, that what's going on? And then his grandpa shows up and tests Yo, and it's revealed that his oversoul has dramatically changed since what happened before. So after the 7 days and nights in the cave, Yo somehow through his training managed to get more Furyoku, and pretty much Aminomaru's, like, his oversoul has changed to the point where Aminomaru himself can talk through that form, which is pretty cool. Um, and then after that, Yo has a heart-to-heart talk with Manta of what really happened, and eventually Manta forgives him, and they make amends. They move on. Now, this final scene, Tao Ren makes, like, you could say a confession on what he feels about his family as a whole, because he mentions that since for 800 years the Tao family has been nothing more about revenge and hatred, and his family always thinks about revenge and restoring the family name. Um, and his main goal for becoming king is to break that cycle of hatred, even if he has to destroy his own family in order to do so. And that's pretty much the end of that episode. And that, uh, with that, I mean, it was never really revealed in the original, at least not yet, of how he hates his own family because of their history. He doesn't see an end to the hatred and revenge, because even if he does succeed in becoming Shaman King, he doesn't see like a light at the end of the tunnel for his clan at all, because once he becomes king, maybe his father will use him to extract revenge on the clan's members or whoever the the Cloud family has against, and it's awful. And I thought this was something that something for people to have at least a change for Tauren, because I'm sure that a lot of people who hasn't seen the original or haven't read the manga view Tauren as an a-hole who wants to kill people and sees people below him as insects and all that stuff. But at least with this scene, you get to see more of his reasons why he wants to become Shaman King. But but his ways of getting to his goals are questionable, to be quite honest. But eventually, he will change his ways. He will change his ways. Um, so that ends. Now heading into 2001. Now in here, there's a lot of things that are different compared to the reboot. Like for instance, here, instead of seeing Manta's family and telling Manta that you cannot see Yo ever again, you end up seeing Silva instead, introducing himself to Manta and how he personally takes responsibility for what happened between him, Faust, and Yo. Um, and then heading to meeting Yo, everything remains the same. It remains the same up until Manta meets Ryu and they go on this road trip, because as you know, in the reboot they meet at the airport. In this case they don't meet at the airport. They meet somewhere else. And so they decide to take the road trip to see Yo at his hometown, and that does not change. um Here in the next scene, this is where it's different, where Yo arrives home and Yo, Anna, and Miromaru were at a room with the grandpa, with his grandfather, talking about him needing training, the cave, and everything else. And while his grandfather was talking about the dangers of the cave, you see Anna and Aminomaru just growing concerned, and you even see in that same scene with Anna holding Yo's katana all tightly, because like she fears the worst. Um, Meanwhile, it remains the same between you and Manta. They talk. Only the difference is here, Ryu was like, you know what? There's no bathrooms around here. Let me find a bush and do my business there. In the meantime, can you get a couple of things for the road? So Manta goes to the store while Ryu goes to the woods and pee. But it wasn't the case, because once he hit deep into the woods, he just calls out of nowhere, like, "Hey, like, if you two stop, like, "Hey, you there, come out, come out." Because earlier on, while they were on the road, they were followed by a car, and it was discovered that these two women showed up, were the ones who were tailing both guys. And at first, typical Ryu was having the the heartstrings, seeing two women, which, I mean, one of them at least, the other woman, a girl, mind you, was right there. Well, yeah, yeah. And so he gets attacked by these two women who are also shaman. And luckily, Yo's father appeared and saves Ryu and just drove him off. And it's revealed now that Ryu has an oracle bell, so he is part of the shaman tournament now. I don't know if he officially qualifies by, like, he won his matches, or he still needs one more. That's unknown, but we all know that he's going to be part of the tournament anyway. So regardless, if he already won his matches or he still has one more, that's irrelevant. In the next scene, everything is the same except that Yo is accompanied by Anna and Amiyamaru heading into the cave. And then the episode ends with Tamao having this vision, and that's the end of episode 17. Then leading into episode 18, she talks with her spirits of what she saw and decides to take matters into her own hands. Now, mind you, it's the same vision, except you have the two members of Lily 5 following them, and one of them is tall and the other is short. So get it so far? So the vision isn't really specific on which one, like which one of these Lily 5 people or Ryu or Manta are the real threat. Like, the vision is unclear. Usually with visions, they're misread. They're usually misread. In this episode, we get to see Horo winning his match. So he's officially part of the Shaman tournament. He won his two matches, and he officially qualifies. And poor Horo does not take any breaks, because after his sister and him celebrate, it turns out there's more training ahead of him. So it sucks, but at least he's also part of the tournament. He won his matches, and he's just waiting for Yo. He's just waiting for Yo to win his match, so that together they could go do the tournament. What else? So in the next scene, everything is the same from the reboot. They meet. Tamao tries to stop him. Only this time, I think in this version, yeah, they stop in front of the Asakura household, and they encountered Tamao. And the funny part is that the two spirits she has tries to attack him, but ends up getting slapped and knocked out by Ryu. I thought it was cool. It's cool and funny. He just slaps and then just knocked out cold. And then once Ryu sees Tamao, already, he's like Brock. The moment he sees a pretty girl. He tries to woo them. Can you be my girlfriend? And they end up getting shut down. And here is the same way. You have Ryu, like, mysteriously brings out his flowers out. He just with his flowers and it slowly approaches her. And can you be my special place and all that? And he even tries to get a kiss, give a kiss, and then the guardian spirits came to and just knock him out, like punches him and gives him the low blow, and he gets knocked out cold. And then it remains the same. Uh, Tamao draws out her crossbow over Soul, but gets stopped by Anna, and plus her guardian ghost gets a beating by Anna. So it was not pretty. It was not pretty. And Anna and Mata have this talk while going to see Yo, and ask him, like, are you sure you want to be still a part of Yo's life, knowing that there will be dangers ahead and meet people who are worse than Faust. But Mata's like, I don't care, he's my best friend. And you get to see Anna smile at the end, which was pretty nice. And once they head to the exit of the cave, it is the same, but they encounter the two members of Lily 5 at the top of the cliff, and then they come down, and their goal was to see off the cave and to stop Yo from exiting. But that, I'm getting ahead of myself here. Before that, let me rewind. They get to Mata meets Yo's grandpa and tells Mata that Yo entered the cave. He'd probably be dead because he hasn't come out in a few days. And then in the next scene, you have Yo's father picking up Ryu while he's still out of it. He picks him up and takes him to the same cave as the same one as Yo went in. And let's see. And so for Ryu, unfortunately, he could barely go inside the cave because the moment he hit the cave, his 5 senses were gone. He could not see anything, and he just ran back outside. And wow, like, you have to give credit to Yo. Like, he's fearless, but of course Yo's dad pretty much gave the same speech to Ryu, and also mentioned that Yo went inside. But I'm sure eventually he will go inside and complete his training, go through the cave training and all that. And then Mata and Tamayo have a moment. She ends up introducing herself, and the same speech she had in the reboot is the same here. So nothing much has changed except for the scenery and all that. And here, later on in the next day, Tamao has another vision, seeing Yo is coming out today and all that. That's something that never happened in the reboot. In the reboot. And mind you, of course, the two members of the Lily 5 never made an appearance in that episode yet, which is kind of disappointing. Um, and so everybody from the grandfather, everybody heads towards the exit of the cave, and then that's when the two women appeared on top of the cliff, going down, and of course, one of them was starting shooting at the cave, and while the other tries to stop Anna or Minimaru from stopping them. So sorry if I went ahead, but it happens. It happens. It happens. And but luckily, it didn't happen. You see Yo coming out from the cave, still with this layback attitude, like, hey, like, why is this so loud? I mean, what's going on? And the two girls were shocked, but figured, okay, well, we'll take him out now. And that's where he that revealed his new oversoul and all that. So instead of his grandpa testing him, you have the two girls being the test dummies instead. And Yo pretty much gave them the Team Rocket blasting off again. And, and it was pretty funny because during the whole blasting off, you get into the scene where the little girl hits the water first, but the other girl gets hit by this giant boulder, gets hit, and then gets hit and then gets thrown into the water. And then you see them face first, with one of them having a major bruise on top of her head and just knocked out cold. And I thought it was really funny. And the scene ends where Manta and Yo make up and ask Tamao that, hey, you're a good cook. I haven't, it's been a long time since I had your cooking. Can you please cook dinner for us? And of course she agreed, but it ends where Anna beats up Yo. And that's the end of that episode. I enjoyed 2001 better than episode 8 because it was more fun, because because in these two episodes it's revealed that Ryu is also part of the tournament. We get introduced to two women who are later to be discovered as being part of the Lily Five, and we get to see Horo officially be a part of the tournament. And other than that, it was a fun 2 episodes. It was fun. And with episode 8, it's nice to see Manta's family for the first time. I'm not sure in the manga they get introduced, but it's nice to see them here because you never get to see them in 2001. Again, I don't like Ryu's character here. I really don't, because Ryu had this ambition to becoming a shaman, and he wants to learn. That's why Yo's father offered apprenticeship for Ryu to learn the ways of the shaman. While in this version of the reboot, the only thing he cares about most is becoming a chef for Anna. And that line where he mentions that I'm curious of becoming a shaman, it's just like all casual and everything, and I just don't like it. I don't like Ryu's character in the reboot. I really don't. I really do not. Um and it sucks that the Lily 5 hasn't made an introduction yet in this episode. There's no mention of Horo anymore. I know that he's gonna come later, but still, like, their friendship is established in a way, but not as fully established in the original, you know? Um, but the other thing is that we get to see more of Tao Ren in terms of his goals, his reasons as to why he wants to become Shaman King. It's not and it's not a selfish reason either. It's just he's so sick and tired of his family, wanting revenge and just having this huge pressure on him, and just to say that I want to break the cycle, and I don't care if I have to go through my family in order to achieve that goal, then it's kind of powerful. And it just goes to show that Tao Ren is not completely a douchebag, because I'm sure for people who haven't read the manga and seen the original will view him as a douchebag that only cares about himself, and that's pretty much it. But at least in here, it shows people that he's not completely evil as people may assume him to be as. If it makes any sense. But again, this episode, this particular episode to me was a little bit more, it was serious compared to the two episodes of 01, which, if I had to make a decision again, I had to go with 2001. And maybe I may be biased, but doing compare and contrast, I mean, you probably feel the same way. I don't want to ramble too much. This video is already long, but thank you for sticking around, and hope to see you in the next review for episode 9, and possibly episodes, if it's not a two-parter, it'll be just episode 19. If not, it will be 19 and 20 of 01. Anything else? Yeah. I hope you liked this episode. Give a like, and I will see you again next time. Johnny!